Hello, everyone. So, welcome once again to Faith Conversations with Joyful Bolu and Friends. So, today we are discussing on visualizing your reality. This conversation has been based on my recent book, Voice Printing My Reality, which is a faith, confession, and prayer journal. And so, we've been having various conversations based on faith-based conversations, just trying to interact with how that we can voice print our realities, right? And I've been having these discussions and conversations with some of my friends, and I'm excited once again to have another amazing person here as we're going to be discussing about visualizing your reality. So tonight I have Temiloluwa Owolabi here. So thank you so much. I would like to get more comments as we discuss today. Welcome, Temiloluwa. It's good to have you here. Thank you for joining this conversation.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So yes, visualizing your reality. I would like to explain it by sharing my own story because it's something that is very personal to me and it's something that I have gone through. So I have had to visualize my reality several times, but I'll be sharing this particular story with regard to my content creation journey, my content creation experience. So before I started content creation, it had always been something in my heart for a long time to share my story, to talk to people, to share experiences, to give enlightenment. And I've been doing that in some other ways. I've been teaching the word of God in some places. I've been volunteering with several organizations. But, I just felt deep down that there was more to this, that I had more inside of me. And if possible, I wanted to do it on a larger scale. And then I remember that every time I would have this nudge in my heart to do more, to be more, I would just ignore it like, who knows, maybe it's just a thought. Can I actually do this? There are many people that are doing something similar. I don't just want to be a copy. But I did not quickly understand that this was supposed to be my reality that was coming to me in bits and pieces, and I was not even taking note of that. The first thing I'd like to say at a point is that your reality, first of all, is not your immediate environment. Your reality is not limited or defined by the thing that is around you, your physical senses. Your reality is what you make of it. Your reality is your perception of yourself. Your reality is how much you define yourself, who you are, and all that God has made you to be. So when I began to take more study, when I began to spend more time with God, I realized that what I had been feeling on the inside of me was not just a mere feeling. There was more to it, that God actually wanted me to begin to speak to people on a larger scale. And for the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to divide it into three major areas. So I wrote it down here. I'll just go through it. The first thing is the power of visualization. And just like this topic says, visualizing your reality. The first thing is that you have to see it. And you don't see it with your physical eyes, you see it with your mind. In other words, you have to create your reality from your mind. It's so beautiful that even today I was in a webinar and the speaker mentioned that exact same thing, and I was so happy that it sounded like some form of validation for what I had to come and say here tonight. So I realized that thing that you create your reality in your mind. It is not just with your physical eyes, because your physical eyes can deceive you. Your reality could be that you are studying outside the country, but what the physical eyes are telling you is that you are seated here in maybe a one-bedroom apartment. You don't even have enough funds to travel out of your locality, how much more out of the country. So the first thing is to use your mind. And that's why I love what God told Abraham when he called him out. He said, look out at the sky, look at the stars. He told him, look across the land. And God said, as far as your eyes can. I find that very powerful because I know that God knew that Abraham's eyes, physical eyes, were limited. God knew that even if Abraham tried to touch his toes and feet and look up, he will still get to a point where he would say, I cannot see anything again. So God was most likely not telling him to look with these physical eyes, but with his heart, with his mind. God was telling him, what do you imagine? How far can you think? And that reminds me again of this message I listened to by Dr. Miles Morrow. He was saying that whatever you have envisioned for your life has to be something so big that it scares you. So if your reality is not scaring you, like this thing is too big, I don't even know if I can achieve it, then you have not begun to visualize it. So look as far as your eyes can see. Lift up your eyes and imagine. You want to build one house? Why not think about building 10? You want to build one school in a rural area? Why not think about building 100? Why not think about traveling from nation to nation, continent to continent, in at that point, when I began to think about it with relation to my content creation journey, I had to visualize it. Is it just that I want to speak to people? That is too small a vision. That is too small to visualize. If I just want to speak to people, I can go out in the streets from door to door and just be talking to people about whatever it is that interests us. So I decided, okay, let me visualize something bigger. Why not talk to people outside of my state? Why not talk to people outside of the state where I live? Why not talk to people outside of Nigeria? Why not talk to people outside of Africa? Why not talk to people that I have never met and I probably will never meet, but they will get in touch with my content and their lives will be transformed. And the moment I began to imagine it, see, that's the power of imagination. The moment you are already beginning to see it with your mind, you're already feeling like a changed person. At that moment, I began to feel different. At that moment, I got something like a confirmation that what I had been thinking this entire time, that had been coming like a nudge, was actually a very big vision. So that was the first step. I had to visualize it. Am I still on? Am I still
Yes, you
clear?
are. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, Ma. And then the second thing that I had to do is to write it down. So I believe that after visualizing, you need to put it on paper. Our anchor scripture in Habakkuk chapter version on my phone. I saw that place that says, write what you see. So even God is interested in having you pen down everything that shows you. Human mind is limited. The human mind can forget. I made a video recently on YouTube about planning, and I made some funny shorts recently about writing down ideas, because if you forget it, you may never remember. And it's personal experience. Every time you remember something and you tell yourself, I trust myself, I will remember. I can't count the number of times I've had amazed that every time I got the idea, I was like, this is the idea that will make me a billionaire, a super. And then I remember, and 2 minutes later, I am struggling to remember, and I am so hard, I am so pain. Sometimes I will even be praying, I say, God, bring it back, bring it back. So it's very important to write things down so that you can have something to always refer to at the end of the day. And that's why I'm so excited about the amount of awareness that these days. A lot of people are talking about journaling. Lots of people are talking about having a diary, writing down things, whatever it is that you and God share in your quiet time. I'm so happy that a lot of people are taking this thing seriously, because it's going to help a lot of people to preserve everything that God has that I took. The moment I remember that I had a vision, I started by writing it down. The first thing I did was to write it down on my phone, because I still had this doubt that it might not come to pass. So let me just keep it on my phone. I'm not ready to dedicate a journal to this dream. I'm not ready to say this thing should come to pass someday soon. I was just how things will unfold. So I turned it, and I realized that one very important thing that happened after I wrote it down was that more ideas started coming. It was like magic. So all that I needed to do was just to write it down.
Yes.
It was like opening a tap, allowing something to flow. The moment open the tap, you give way for it to flow. And the moment I wrote it down, I want to begin to talk to people. Almost immediately, I had another idea. You just talk to experiences. Okay, I want to use
Awesome.
platforms. Now we're in the technology age. You have to be online. You have to create an online presence. You have to of your social media. So many things that didn't cross my mind several months, weeks ago. I started receiving them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it will be the day after, 2 days after. Somebody will just say something random, and it will occur to me that this will be very useful executing that vision we wrote about the other day. And I'll be like, wow, and then I'll write it down. So much so that by the time I decided to finally bring out a jotter, to dedicate a jotter to this vision that had been in my mind, this was around 2021. By the time I decided to bring out a jotter for this content creation idea that I had, that I did not even know that the name was called content creation, and I transferred everything that was on my phone into that jotter, I had 14 pages worth of ideas.
Amazing. Oh my God.
And
Wow.
if someone told me that I had 14 pages,
Wow.
told me that I had 14 pages worth of ideas inside of me to create content and to bless people's lives, I don't believe it.
Mm.
Because, of course, every time I didn't write it down. It was just like a random thought in my head. So after I visualized it and I wrote it down, I began to see the possibility of this thing actually coming to pass. And then that moved me to the third step, which is to begin to speak into
Oh my.
existence. This one was the game
Mm-hmm.
changer for me. It reminds me of that scripture that death and life are in
Oh,
the power of the tongue.
tongue.
Every time I remember this vision, I have written it down, I would begin to speak it out. I would sit down in my room and I would begin to talk
Okay.
to the thin air. I didn't have the time to sit down in front of the mirror because I didn't always like looking back at my reflection. I didn't look at friends, I didn't look at cups. I would just be looking into the thin air and I'll be like, hello everybody, Temiloluwa, Grace Owolabi, and today I want to talk to you about leadership. Like my first 3 videos on YouTube that I uploaded on YouTube, I had rehearsed many of them since 2021 in my room, in my empty
Mm-hmm.
space. I was
Oh
speaking, I was
my
granting
God. This is really beautiful.
from
This is
CNN,
beautiful.
from Daily Show, from Great Channel in my head. And I am a public speaker. I am a content creator. I share things on social media to enlighten people. And the more I said it, the more I liked the sound of it in my ears. The more I was in agreement with me,
Oh my
saying
God.
that's exactly what you are going
This
to do.
network is
And that
okay.
moment, like, I should have done this thing earlier. I've been telling myself all this while. So at that point, it became something more real to
Mm.
me. I knew that if I don't go after this vision that God has given me, I would be cheating myself and I would be cheating all the people that God
Cheating
has
others,
assigned to
right?
me. So I
Yes.
wrote it down in September 2021. I compiled everything. I waited on God to see if I could get more ideas. And then I procrastinated a little till around December 2021. And then I
Oh my God.
began to do the next step that I mentioned. So after doing the three major things, after visualizing it, after writing it down, after speaking it sense, you are now empowered to take action.
Mm.
You are now enabled. And when you are empowered, it simply means that you have the courage, you have the power, you have the strength
The
to
ability.
do what that
Mm-hmm.
vision has been telling you this
Mm-hmm.
entire time. So then I have the confidence, I have the courage to walk up to say, I have this vision. I was so sure that if at any point in time, any one of my mentors or my friends or my accountability partners asked me, so what is it exactly about this vision? I was ready to bring out that jotter that I had dedicated to this vision and say, take, this is it. This is everything that I have been compiling since 2021. I am ready to launch this vision. I just need your help. I just need your counsel. I need your advice. So all that period, the only thing I was doing some sort of sampling and surveying. I was asking people what social media platform would you be more
Recommend.
convenient to watch videos on. If I made video content, would you like to watch it? I did some posts on Instagram too. I was asking people for recommendations. And finally, around February 2022, I recorded my first two videos. And when I recorded those videos successfully, I felt so on top of the world. It was like I have just given birth to a new baby.
Awesome.
This
It's
vision that I
awesome.
had of me for a very long time was beyond research. I watched that video over and over and over again with so much excitement inside of me, like, so I can talk like this, so I can create content like this. I upload this video. I am officially a content
Mhm.
creator. And this is coming to my end finally with all the people that I had gone to for advice, the people that had taught me editing, the people that had taught me all the packaging that I needed to make the vision look presentable, for the action to look very, very excellent. I eventually I uploaded that video in March 2022, and ever since then, no, it has always been brighter
Amazing.
and brighter. On the perfect day, I have seen
Okay.
the fulfillment of God, and I have what it means to have an idea, to conceive a vision, and to follow it through till it becomes your reality. That's why I chose to share that story. That's why I chose to discuss about this particular journey, because it is the most recent and also the most tangible one that I can
Yes,
share with people.
yes.
So
A man's
thank you
story
very much.
never leaves him, right? A man's story is your story, and everyone that has access to your story is opportune to really see to it that he draws out the lessons and start practicing them, right? So we are grateful that you shared that amazing story. It was really mind blowing. The 14 pages actually was really mind blowing, and how that visualization led to you taking notes, just like the Bible said. Like, write this vision down, right? God did not just show him the vision; He also told him to write it down. Then from then, it went to you voice printing your realities,
Yes.
right? And you took action.